Today we pick up the front axle that's going into the S10. This axle is from the Jeep that got me into four-wheeling. Not this version. Hey look, my front axle has been in a magazine. Check that out. But we're talking about this one. As you can see, we've been around in the Jeep game quite a long time, and Nate is the one that got me into it. This axle has been in Nate's Jeep a really long time and has been through many different builds and variations. Almost all of those variations I had a hand in building. So when the opportunity to buy this axle came up, I had to take it. So I went over to Nate's, we pulled it out of his TJ, and man, do I wish I had a forklift. That thing made this job so much easier, pulling this super heavy axle up, out, and loading it in the back of my truck. I then loaded up the transmission I just pulled from the S10 and took it down to the transmission shop to get upgraded and rebuilt. Then made it home and unloaded this thing and cleaned it up. As you can see, I had a much tougher time getting this thing out than with Nate's forklift. Now, those of you that have been around and a subscriber and watched my videos for a long time, you guys know that I have the exact same front axle in my Jeep that is in Nate's Jeep. So why would I buy Nate's axle when I already have the same thing? So that's a very fair question. It is a good question. So let's go over the differences and the reason why I decided to sell my front axle and buy Nate's front axle instead of just reusing the front axle that I took out of my Jeep. So this is my front axle. These are the specs on it. It is a 1976 F-150 high pinion Dana 44, 538 gears, spool, RCV shafts, it's trussed. I have homemade high steer that I welded on myself, Barnes 4-wheel drive diff cover, 3-link, hydro assist, and it has Warren selectable hubs on it. Biggest difference is that I narrowed it to a Jeep Grand Wagoneer width, which is 62.5. So I'm running Jeep Grand Wagoneer RCV axle shafts in this one. The differences in the axles, obviously it is not narrowed, so it is a stock 65.5 inch wheel mounting surface, which is perfect because it matches my stock 9 inch, which is 65. It has a Yukon zip locker. Unlike my spool, it has true high steer knuckles, which mine did not, and the inner C's are trussed, and it has Yukon hardcore dry flanges. I have a couple sets of Warren selectable hubs, which I'll be using, and I can throw the dry flanges in for more hardcore trails. So you can see how it just made sense for me to just buy Nate's axle since he made it available to me instead of trying to upgrade everything on my axle. And it would be very difficult to change the axle width back to the 65.5. That would take an extreme amount of work, and somebody can appreciate it for having that narrow track width. Now that we got that all cleared up, I'm going to show you a couple quick things that I got in the mail. This is Journeys Off-Road. They make a conversion kit for Astrovans to make their all-wheel drive four-wheel drive, and they use the MP233C case, which is the same one that's out of the S10 that I have here. So they make a really cool shift linkage, shifter, a whole kit that converts it to be able to convert the encoder motor MP233C to a manual shifter. Now, some modification is going to be needed in order for me to make this thing work. And here, I don't know exactly what that will be yet, but the perfect opportunity to do it is when the transmission is out, because I can get to that trans tunnel from the top, which will make my life a hell of a lot easier. So that is one thing that we got going on. And of course, I'm going to be putting in a trans cooler while I have this thing out. Another cool thing that I have is the Skies Off-Road Design. This is their transmission crossmember for straight axle swap S10s. Now, I could make this as just a piece of tube and a couple of brackets, but for $200, I decided I don't want to make it. I don't have the time, and I just bought it. So hopefully this will work out. It should. I mocked it up and set it up there, and it looks really good. I think there's going to be plenty of driveline room, but I just bought this from Sky's Off-Road Design. Well, that's going to be it for this short video. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned next week. We are going to be building the front bumper because I was going to be doing the front suspension, cutting all the brackets off, doing all that stuff, but there is a huge crossmember that's welded and made into the frame that holds the whole front of the S10 together. So when I cut that out, everything's going to want to fall apart. So a front bumper that I'm going to build is going to be encompassing and building a huge, really strong structure for the winch and for my tube and everything for the bumper. So I'm just going to start with that, build that, make that really sturdy and strong, and then cut everything off so everything stays nice and rigid in the correct spot. And then we can start mocking up the front suspension with this new front axle. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell. We've got a website, muddybeards4x4.com. We got shirt stickers, stuff like that. If you want to follow me on social media, I am at muddybeards4x4. Till next week, we will see you in the garage.